Hi, I'm Craig Simino, Head of Product for Double GDP, and this is my product sprint update for May 11th, 2022. This sprint, the vast majority of my time was spent on US planned community market research, so just deepening and broadening our understanding of the structure and the makeup of the US planned community market and how different property managers operate, community managers as well. Um, really focusing on learning things like the key applications that they use and the pricing, some of the feature sets of those apps and the trends where things have been going and evolving in the last decade or two in the software space in particular within the market, and just even learning about some of the unique structure of the market, how in particular things like master plan communities operate with sub associations within the larger master association, just all of the little nuances that come with operating in a complex space like this. That information is kind of directly fed into number two here, which is revising and publishing our pricing. We initially were focused on charging on a per resident basis, but we've now pivoted to charging on a per unit basis with some minimums for the smaller communities, just to make sure we're charging a minimum amount per month. And also rolling out core, plus, and enterprise product tiers to better enable us to associate different features of the product with the different needs of the communities we're going to be working with. And finally, we've tagged some features as coming soon on that list. We'll begin mapping those to epics within our roadmap in the near future so that we can start to track and make available information on what features are being developed and when they'll be incorporated into the product. And finally, we did some research and looking into payment processing. This will enable us to incorporate credit card and mobile app payments directly within the app so that residents and community members can pay the administration for things like HOA dues, utility bills, rent, things like that. We'll initially focus this on the greater Africa market with an integration with one broader payment processor to do credit card and some mobile payment integration. But I do expect as this feature grows, we'll need to do some point-to-point integrations in specific countries with their leading mobile pay providers as well. There tend to be a few in each country, and they don't necessarily scale across the whole region. Next sprint, most of my focus is going to be on our 2-week trip to Kenya, going to a property investment conference, hopefully having some client and prospect meetings. And also working closely with our partnerships and customer success team to determine our go-to-market strategy now that we're doing some learning in the US and Africa planned community markets, really developing this into a strategy for the coming weeks as we start to scale our sales and outreach approach and sign up new customers. And then finally, the same sets of interviews we conducted in the US. We'll be pivoting or moving on to doing similar interviews in Africa in the coming sprint to compare and contrast the different markets and see what we can learn from various communities in Africa as well. Finally, for product metrics, our weekly active user count dropped back down around the level when we first started recording a couple of sprints ago, down to 153, but our average daily sessions stayed relatively stable at about 90 this sprint. Just a quick note, I do plan to be adding gate access as a new metric in the next sprint or two. There's a little bit of engineering work our team's going to need to do to reactivate some queries to get that data for me. So it might take us a sprint or two to get that done and completed. But once that's done, we'll start tracking gate access numbers as part of these product metrics as well. Thanks so much.